Hi, everybody. It's March 27th, 2025, and this is the Backdrop Weekly Dev Meeting. We get together every week to talk about development priorities for Backdrop CMS. Our schedule is pretty open today for topics, so we'll just kind of see what comes about. And a big announcement for today, though, is that next week is Backdrop Live. Backdrop Live is our online only conference, and you can find out more information at events.backdropcms.org. Uh, it's scheduled for Thursday and Friday next week. And depending on how the schedule fills out, it has rolling uh, sessions of I think it's 3 hours on and 3 hours off for 2 full days. And depending on where in the world people are signing up and what sessions they're available in which time slots, then the schedule will uh, firm up, and we'll see if it runs continuously. Normally we kind of skip one of those blocks. So, but anyway, events.backdropcms.org is where you can find out more and sign up for Backdrop Live. And it should be fun. It always is. So, sorry, well, let's do introductions. My name is Nate Lampton. I'm Quick Sketch on the internet, and I'm the core committer, a core committer, and the technical lead for the Backdrop project. And we've got four others here with us today. We'll start with Laren, and then we'll go to Justin.
I'm Laren Krotbaker, also a core committer and work with Atten Design Group. And I will pass it to Eli.
Good morning. My name is Eli Lisick. I'm a developer with Giant Rabbit. I'm calling from San Diego, California.
Thanks, Eli. Justin, and then Martin.
Hey, I'm Justin Kaiser, developer in Muncie, Indiana. I'm coming to you from Contrib Day at DrupalCon. I've been spreading Backdrop here in Atlanta. I met Ben from Giant Rabbit yesterday. So it's been a great time. I'm taking time out from Drupal AI to do Backdrop the rest of the day.
Fantastic. Thank you, Justin. Greetings to folks in Atlanta. Martin.
Hi, Martin Price, Yorkshire Pudding Around Backdrop. I'm a web developer and Backdrop contributor in Northeast England, United Kingdom.
Thank you, Martin. All right. Well, those are the folks that we've got today. We have some new contrib projects. We always like to talk about the new ones that come out every week. We had 4 new contrib projects released this week. Views Mega Row, which allows you to embed large pieces of content, it seems like, in between rows of views results. Tracked TV, which is apparently also a large service called literally TRAKT.TV. And it's a television tracking application, it looks like. And how this integrates with Backdrop, I don't know. But it seems like a very specific kind of integration. But yeah, curious how that will integrate into
Tim's
Backdrop.
demoed it. He uses it to sort of keep track of what programs he's watching, and it downloads the program information from there, and then he can update it on his site. So it's basically using the information from their service to keep his own local record of what he's watching and what he's finished watching.
Cool. And there's also Flickity carousels, another method for creating a carousel via views. I think that's great. Carousels, carousels are tough. So there's always going to be a better carousel out there because every carousel has got its own little issues. And then recipes module, which has been out there for quite a while, and obviously there's a lot of recipe uh, modules that conceptually set up some config for you. But the recipes module is kind of a meta module that identifies which modules are specifically declared as recipes and then allows you to turn them on and off, and I think revert the configuration as well. So that project finally had a release created. So you can find those on backdropcms.org. All right, issues for today is I wanted to talk about this one small issue that I'm excited about for the next minor release of Backdrop. And that's CKEditor 5 emojis. So CKEditor 5 just had a new release that Backdrop 1.31, the next release of Backdrop, has already got the latest version of CKEditor and is up to date with it. And this pull request turns on the new emoji button in CKEditor. So let's see, pull up the sandbox. And looks like I'm already signed in here. But yeah, adding a piece of content. There's the emoji button here, which has different categories. You know, if you do firework. And then it also has the autocomplete like functionality, where if you do a colon and then start typing, it will autocomplete emojis with that name. I'm excited about this. It's just, it's just one of these things that I just feel like it should always be there. Like emojis have become culturally very significant, and it's just expected that emoji should be available pretty much in every system. And at least for myself, as a Linux user, you know, working on a keyboard, the way that I expect to work with emojis is this like type out the name of an emoji to get it. Because I honestly think that that's a lot easier and faster than browsing and searching through emoji lists, or having an emoji key or an emoji thing in the toolbar or something like that. I just think that this is the easiest way to work with emojis. So I'm excited to see it in CKEditor. I started to think about it's interesting that this little catalog here of emojis is dependent upon a giant JSON file that describes all of the emojis and then what their shortcode is going to be. And once this exists in core, I was thinking about how, you know, potentially that list of emoji could be used for other places, like in other mechanisms. But I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. The thing is that this particular pull request though is nice, short and sweet for the most part. Like this is, you know, just turning on the new emoji, adding the SVG, some instructions on how to maintain it. But then this is the giant JSON file of all of the emoji and the categories they're in and the autocomplete codes on them. And this is pulled from CKEditor. They maintain this list of emoji, and by default, CKEditor 5 makes an HTTP request to retrieve this JSON file from a CDN that CKEditor themselves or CKSource maintains. And we don't want to be making an external HTTP request inside of Backdrop for a lot of reasons. Like if your core's configuration is strict and doesn't allow external JavaScript files, or you're in an offline situation, or you know, you're on an intranet, all kinds of things could block an external HTTP request from happening. And so we're just mirroring this JSON file locally, essentially. And this is expected to be updated about once a year, because that's about how often new emojis are released. So we're currently on emoji version 16, and then next year there'll be 17, and the year after that there'll be 18 is expected. So we'll continue to mirror this, you know, every time that there's a new version of emoji.
If it doesn't add too much overhead, I suppose us hosting that JSON file means we could also include a drop the dragon emoji and a backdrop logo if we wanted to.
Well, I mean, we can add additional ones, but these emojis aren't like custom emojis. They're literally like the Unicode.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah,
I
so
thought I saw SVG files in there, but
yeah, there's no custom emojis. These are all just per the official emoji standard. So they're not actually rendering any images. It's straight up Unicode characters. Yeah, once at least for me, like once you have the ability to type emojis in one place, then it makes it easier to copy and paste them. And you start to realize exactly how crazy Backdrop is about its emoji support, that you can, have, you can put an emoji into your page title, you can put it into your menu items. It seems like this didn't make a URL alias, but you also can even put it into your into your URLs and have an emoji in your paths, so which I think is hilarious.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm excited about this one little enhancement. This giant JSON list. Yeah, this was what I was saying, that right now this is just inside of CKEditor 5's build, but potentially we may want to move this to somewhere that's more central or globally available inside of Backdrop rather than tying it to CKEditor specifically. But that's kind of a task for later. And once we actually have a use case for, hey, do we need a giant list of emoji and an emoji browser like anywhere else inside of Backdrop? But I don't know, replicating this UI, like this isn't, as far as I know, extractable um, outside of CKEditor. Likewise, this autocomplete is built on top of the CKEditor mentions plugin, which could also be used for like referencing issues like autocomplete on issue numbers like GitHub, or at mentions if you wanted to at mention by username. So the mentions plugin is also bundled because that was a requirement for the emoji plugin. But the only mention capability we have in here is the is for emojis. We're not supporting at mentions or any other kind of autocomplete at this point. One question that we're going back and forth on, and kind of we're settling in already, is should this be turned on by default or not? Like should it be in the toolbar? And I would be in favor of turning it on by default, but so far other people weighing in have said it should be available, but not out of the box. So does anybody have any off the cuff thoughts about whether or not it should be out of the box or not?
I mean, I guess I would probably lean towards having it available and turned on out of the box too, but maybe not the first.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is just thrown in here, I think, because it's not turned on by default. So yeah, like putting it over here with the like
Yeah.
insert things would make sense, like a link and an image and emoji, I think would make sense. Yeah, it doesn't, yeah, it's not the most important button in the toolbar. All right, any other thoughts or comments on emoji before we move on?
It's probably worth noting that I spotted Indigo Zellas in the name, so I thought there probably already is one for Tiny MCE, and there is. It's a separate module called Tiny MCE Emojis, which has been around since February. So,
One other thought that just comes to mind, which may be an edge case at this point in time, is some older sites might still not support emojis.
Mm.
in which case providing it to the or older servers, I guess, providing it activated out of the box would be very annoying to them.
Yeah, we have the. I'm not sure if it's actually reported in the status report unless it's a problem. Oh no, here it is. Yeah, we have a method to detect if you support emoji. Yeah, so including emojis. Um, and you're right. We should probably, even if it's not turned on out of the box, we should probably make it so that that button is only accessible if the database actually supports it. That could be kind of confusing, like why your site might not have the emoji button, but probably better that we don't show it to someone if it's not supported than
Or would it be possible to show it just grayed out? And then it would make it would show like it's just disabled for some reason. But
oh, I like that idea. So maybe you could actually turn it on, but when you went to go click it, um, I don't know if that's possible. I mean, Seekeditor has the ability to enable and disable certain buttons, and here we go, like this remove format, for example, is grayed out. But I don't know if you can just tell it to add a button but not to enable it all the time. And then, yeah, and then you'd want to have some way of expressing why it's grayed out, which looks like, I mean, maybe we could change the label on this or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, that's a good thought.
do we have any telemetry data about how many sites don't have emoji support?
Ooh, I don't think we do. UTF, no. Yeah, we could use a table of contents on this page now because we're getting so many.
Yeah.
You might be able to infer it from the database version, mightn't you?
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
not fully, because it might be possible but not switched on.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty interesting that MySQL 5.7 is our most popular, followed by 8. So over half of our users, I mean, you can kind of tell which version is MariaDB and which one is MySQL based off the version number. So it looks like half of our installs straight up are MySQL. All right. Great. That's all we've got for emojis, I think. So Laren brought up this question. There's been some trouble with the latest release of Backdrop. So Backdrop 130.2 came out last Wednesday on the 19th. And this person, Paula Gray Overtomb, is saying that scheduler module is not working. And I think that the back and forth and everything like that has revealed that it has to do with the security release, that scheduler module is not publishing nodes on schedule. And Laren, I think, yeah, do you want to describe this? Because you've had a little bit more back and forth on this, I think, than I have. I just saw it before the meeting today.
Yeah. So, I mean, initially she filed an issue in the scheduler module issue queue and said scheduler has stopped working. And once we determined it seemed to be a cron issue or potentially a cron issue, I said, maybe let's bring it to the Zulip chat and get a few more people's input on this. And I think we've narrowed it down that there's this node unpublish or node publish action that scheduler uses, and it runs on cron. And so Part of the issue being that that action is now restricted to users with administer node permissions, I believe. And so cron can no longer access that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So yeah, so this permissions check was the addition to the latest release of Backdrop that checked to make sure that the user has the administer node's permission before showing or before allowing access to these actions. And scheduler module uses actions execute to publish the node. But if this is on cron jobs, then cron jobs are running as an anonymous user. And so now this added permissions check fails because it can't do the publish action anymore because it doesn't have the permission as an anonymous user. So looking at the action system, like what it's actually doing here, it's not doing anything really magical here. It's just saying status.
Yeah, I suppose scheduler could even recreate that action on its own and use its own action.
Yeah, I would be tempted to say just take out this actions execute thing
Oh, that's true.
and just say status equals published and then save.
That's
Because
true.
that's all that's happening here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because now that actions are permissioned, yeah, this is an unintentional breaking of things. I guess when we added the permissions check, it hadn't really occurred to us that actions would be executed outside of bulk operations. I think that was where we had intended actions to be used. So yeah, that's interesting because I don't think that there's any other magic that happens inside of actions execute. It checks for recursion. It gets the callback. It loads an include file, and yeah, then it calls the callback. And there's no hooks or anything in here.
There's no, it's not like going into batching or anything like that. It's just
Nope.
immediately firing. So
Yep. Yeah, and this is a difference from the way that Drupal 7, I think, had initially assembled itself, that there was the concept of like make a bunch of modifications onto a node and then save it at the end. And the action system was simplified pretty dramatically in Backdrop, that an action most often will do the save inside of the action. Like it is like that that node publish action. Oops.
and I think
Yeah, where
Paula
it's
just
doing
jumped
this.
on, who's filed this issue in the first place. So I think
Oh, hi, Paula.
I think we've figured out a solution that I'll make some changes in the scheduler module, and you can test it there.
Hey, hi.
Hi. So yeah, like Laren just said, we kind of went over this particular problem, and it looks like the change needs to be made in scheduler module to address it. So thank you, Laren.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so
I'm so
I'll-
glad. Yeah, I'm glad that we found a solution, that you guys found a solution.
Yeah, I'll create a PR. I think the initial issue that you filed is still open, so I'll just create a PR on that issue, and then you can test that, and if it works, we can get it merged.
Trying to see if now that this has got me curious if there's any other places that call
Oh,
actions
there's node
execute.
unpublished
So there's
whatever
scheduler.
CCL is.
and then views bulk operations. That's not surprising. So it's all there's bulk handler form and organic groups, but these places are fine because if you're calling actions execute as as a submit handler on a form
From
or
a
something
form,
like
yeah.
that, that's all good because you're going to be logged in. It's really um, it's really the like calling actions execute inside of cron that got us in trouble here with scheduler.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't have any other topics for today. It was kind of an open schedule. So if does anybody else have something they'd like to bring up?
It's revisiting something from some weeks or months ago. There was I made a pull request. I forget. I think I made a pull request to change CSS. And I'm forgetting the details right now, but it was like modernizing the CSS in a way that should still be backwards compatible, but made it more consistent. And it was using logical properties, I think, instead of left and right and that kind of thing. And I know that we talked about it, and there was some hesitation about it, and I was thinking if part of the hesitation, I think, is worry that it would change something visually. And so I just was thinking the other day, is it a possibility to set up some kind of like visual regression testing that we could, be comfortable that this isn't breaking anything major. In all the manual testing I've done, it actually fixes a few things on right to left that hadn't been noticed before now. But
Is this the right issue?
yes, I believe so.
But the pull request was filed back in January. Is that
That
or is there
sounds
more
right.
recent?
No,
Oh,
I haven't
okay.
looked at it since then. I don't think anybody's felt brave enough to review it or look at it.
I think Wilbur's done quite a bit of work on visual regression testing, and there might even be a module for it. I'm not sure. I'll have a look.
So one thing that jumps out to me right away is the potential for uh, a custom theme, or actually just a contrib theme, or just some sites trying to override CSS and um, you know continuing to use the. I guess it could be mostly fine. I don't know, like uh, if a contrib theme or custom theme is overriding one of these selectors in its own CSS file, and it's using a different approach, whether it's using the old, left and right instead of the logical property of inline start and inline end. Like what happens? Because you've got inline start,
Yeah, I think we have
spec.
verified that. I think we verified that the older style will still override the newer style if it's added later in the cascade. Or
That's good. That will probably minimize most of the problems. So yeah, I'm not sure how CSS works here when it encounters two properties that are conflicting like this, margin left versus inline start, for example. I would guess what I would think would make a lot of sense would be it considers these two things basically the same property, and whichever one was defined last probably wins.
that's my understanding. Yeah.
There still could be some scenarios where sometimes uh, the CSS property it doesn't stand alone, and I think that these like dir RTL things are a good example here, where this CSS is going away because it's not needed anymore because thanks to the whole concept of logical properties, you don't need to specify right and left separately for right and left languages. But you could still end up with, again, like an override where it's got this more specific CSS selector, and then it's doing some things. I don't know. It's the sort of thing where I feel like it's low risk, but it probably will break something somewhere for someone. You know, like I don't think it'll break most sites, but you know, yeah, this is really a question of like risk tolerance, I think. It's pretty great to see though, the number of, I just want to see the overall line number count here. Yeah, look at that. A reduction of 1,200 lines of CSS from using logical properties. That's amazing. Because you get rid of those large swaths like this. That's a
Yeah,
relief.
I mean, so that's one of the benefits of it is obviously that little gain in efficiency as well in terms of file sizes and stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and just also we often, I shouldn't say often, but sometimes it's pretty common that during code review we catch these problems where people have added a left or right addition to the CSS, or they've adjusted the margin, the left or right margin, but then they forget to add the RTL addition directly below it, or they change one but not the other if it already exists. And so the number of times that this will eliminate the oops, we forgot to test RTL because it just it'll just be handled directly. Well, this will reduce the number of regressions we have of that type quite a bit. On the other hand, though, we probably would also need to introduce some linting rules to prevent the reintroduction of margin left, margin right, any non-logical properties throughout the system. Did you use a tool for this conversion?
I didn't. I just went through each file. Well, I did like a, you know, um, margin dash left, and then I searched through core CSS and sort of spot check them. But there was enough variation that I couldn't think of a way to use it more like. I mean, there probably are tools that could have done it, but
Yeah. Well, I see. Yeah, because stuff like this, it probably couldn't identify
right.
that it's safe to remove that. Oh, wow. Wow, that's a lot of work, Clarence. Thank you for doing that. Uh, not surprising. There's conflicts, but only one file worth of conflicts, so that's good. Yeah,
And in the issue, one of the ones with screenshots there, it shows a few of the things that as I was testing visually, I actually found like it improves things. It fixes things that we didn't even have issues for in RTL.
that's great. Yeah, just on one page, 3 examples. This is great. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, this is fair, totally fair feedback.
It is big. I mean,
Yeah. Well, hi, Tim. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
We're talking about logical CSS properties,
Oh,
and this large pull request that redoes all of core to use logical properties.
oh man. Is this
Uh,
like a 2.x issue?
well, yeah, that's what we were discussing about, like, what kind of
It could be your,
potential would this have for causing regressions in Contrib and custom themes?
yeah. So I feel like we could change it pretty easily in core with our supplemental CSS, what have you. But
Oh, well, I mean that would
that,
only, I mean, yeah, supplemental CSS only exists in Basis right now,
oh,
and this is everything.
yeah. man, things have changed so much in the last 10 years. I was also working on the Borg theme last night, and I was looking at like how we like used floats, and I'm like, oh, I remember floats. Floats were like my best friend, but I can't remember recently when I've used any of floats anywhere. I'm like, you don't need this anymore. Yeah.
Well, anyway, my only thing in raising this is if there's a way to get it unstuck, and I realize it is a big pull request and people are rightly scared of big pull requests. But if there's a way to get it unstuck, I would like to.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, I don't know how much you've talked about this already, but I don't think the problem is the size of the pull request. The problem is probably the concern about how much it's going to affect existing sites.
Yeah, we did just touch briefly on if someone is already overriding, the left, right, that will still work. It'll still override the logical property.
We should try it. Okay. I'll put it on, maybe I'll put it on one of my own sites and see what happens.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the best ways to really verify it. But I mean, a ton of this stuff also is, you're only going to see it in the 7 theme
Oh, it's,
because I mean, it's not only admin CSS, but there's a
oh,
ton of admin only CSS.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
you'll be able to test it on any Backdrop website, just checking to make sure the administrative interfaces are fine.
Yeah. But still, that's core alone, right? And so if we want to see what it looks like with contrib sites, themes or custom themes.
Hmm.
I mean, we can see if we can get the momentum going again without this, but if breaking it into parts and like doing the part that just affects admin themes first, helped
Yeah.
build confidence, that might be
Yeah.
a strategy.
I would be in favor of doing it in maybe 3 parts where like admin theme is something that's pretty easy for us to put in core. And now that we have supplemental CSS selectors in Basis, I don't know if there's anything specific in Basis, but that could be one way where we could, I mean, if we had to, we could put it in Basis without putting it anywhere else. Hopefully that's not necessary and it does override without any issues. But yeah, and then core,
Yeah.
maybe we should save that for minor release. So we can like do the proper kind of announcement around it as opposed to a bug fix release. But that could also be kind of a big PR thing too, where it's like modern CSS. I don't know.
I was just going to say, ideally, if we don't have to do the supplemental CSS for Basis, because then you don't get the benefit of stripping out all that extra bloat, you're just adding more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Basis in particular is going to be prone to, overriding because that's what it's made for.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I do like the idea. Yeah, I think we'll get into sticky situations with some of the closer to the front end ones, but overriding the module CSS and the admin specific CSS, I think is going to be not overriding, but replacing those is going to be the safer, easier win. And maybe also, we could start with those and see if we run into problems with them.
Yeah. I definitely think 7 theme on its own is a safe thing to do, regardless. So good recommendation, Tim.
So in terms of moving forward, should I create a new pull request that just does 7 right now?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that would be a good start. I was thinking module CSS as well for the most part, like
Core.
views and field and
Well, how about if I make a new PR that just doesn't touch Basis?
I don't know. I feel like that module CSS need, there's a lot of that gets overridden in themes too, because themes don't specifically account for it if they didn't have that module in their setup. And so I don't know. There's a lot of like, especially around the like responsive drop down menu. There's like files in there that are like override me in your theme, right? So there's, and I don't know, views too. Like there's this weird like border that comes out on your views grid stuff. There's like a lot of stuff that we have to override on the front end that comes from modules.
This shouldn't, well, I guess
Let's
Yeah.
just test it. We don't
Yeah.
know anything until we test it. We're being maybe overly cautious, which cautious is good, but like, I still think let's test it all together before we make you do a whole bunch of work, Laren. But I do think that it even without testing, I'd be much more confident with 7 theme going in first. So that, but Nate would be more confident with modules. I don't know. Let's just test it as it is.
All right, sounds good. Well, I think I did see there was a conflict. I'll look at and get at least the current PR working for now then.
Okay. What's the issue number on that one?
6657.
Thank you.
Okay. We don't have any other topics, so does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss? Okay. Well, maybe we wrap up early then. Tim, do you want to give another pitch for Backdrop Live? I already talked about it at the beginning, if you want to elaborate.
Always want to pitch Backdrop Live. We got 1 week from today. We have a decent number of sessions scheduled, but we'd love to see some more. If you have ideas, please, either add them to the schedule or contact us.
Yeah, and also as relating to this meeting, there won't be any weekly meetings next week because Backdrop Live will be happening at the same time. So yeah, we'll be online for other purposes, but there will be no broadcast or live stream either because Backdrop Live is, for the most part, not recorded. So if you want to participate, please show up.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll wrap up for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here, and thank you to our online viewers. And we'll see everybody, hopefully, at Backdrop Live.
Sure.